All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Morning, folks, or afternoon at this point.
All right. So this is something a little new we're going to be trying here. Hopefully, this will be a great way to share our wealth of knowledge with our clients, our soon-to-be clients, whoever really wants to hear. We get a lot of questions from our clients about how they can improve their payroll functions, how they can be more tax advantaged, and we're optimistic that this will be a great way to communicate that.
Yep, we kind of got just a pairing. I'll be talking on the payroll portion of things. Tom will be talking on the tax side, and we just have a little bit of info for you. We'll run it down, and then we'll open up the floor for any questions that anyone might have. You want to go first?
Yeah, I can take it first. Here, I got a few little things put together here. If the computer doesn't freeze up. So what I wanted to talk about today, it's really one of the most asked questions we get, and it really comes down to folks wanting to know what their tax burden is going to look like after they make a purchase, or what their tax burden is going to look like if they make some sort of sale or other increase in their income. And what that really comes down to is what's known as your marginal rate. So we talk about tax brackets, where you determine, how much tax you're going to end up paying. It all comes down to how much income you have. And what your marginal rate is that's basically just the tax bracket that you're in. If you bear with me, I'm going to start this up here. All right. When it comes to your marginal rate, it all comes down to how much income you have for the year. Right here, we do have the tax brackets for 2026. A few other filing statuses, but these are the main two that we run into. Mostly folks either filing single or filing married joint. And from your income, you can determine your marginal rate and use that to calculate some savings. So this is the example that I have laid out for us. We can kind of run through this to get an idea of what that would look like. So in this example, we're going to have a taxpayer who's married filing joint. And they already know that their taxable income for the year, before making any other decisions, is going to be around $150,000. And that's usually the hardest part of these calculations, is actually figuring out what that taxable income is going to be. Obviously a lot of factors when you're determining, a little bit of guesswork sometimes as to, what the rest of the year is going to look like. But just to make things easy, we went with that 150 number for this example. And of course, you don't want to forget about state tax. Plenty of states don't have income tax. In this example, we are going to use Arizona. They have a flat tax, so that makes it a little easier for this calculation. And in this example, the taxpayer is looking to buy a new piece of equipment. They're a print shop. They're going to buy a new printer. And they know it's going to cost $10,000. Based on their taxable income, they know that their federal marginal rate is going to be 22%. Because their taxable income is greater than about 100,000, but it's less than about 211,000. So we know they have a 22% marginal rate. You take that 22% marginal rate plus the state rate, don't want to forget state, and you're multiplying that by the cost of the new printer, because you're able to take advantage of that nice bonus depreciation for 2026, write the whole thing off. And so from that $10,000 expense that we're incurring for the business, that's going to yield a tax savings of $2,450 just by multiplying by your marginal rate. The inverse, or maybe I shouldn't say the inverse, but the alternative is also an option of figuring out your gain on the sale of something. Perfect. And so here's another example for trying to figure out how much tax you might pay on the sale of stock. So in this example, we've got someone who is filing single. Their income otherwise is $95,000, and they live in Illinois, which is also a flat tax state. And they are going to be selling some stock they made quite a bit of money on. So the first thing that we're going to notice here is because this is a stock sale, you're actually not using your ordinary tax brackets. You get to use the long-term capital gains brackets, assuming they've held their stock for at least a year. Some states do have different rates for long-term capital rates gains, just like the IRS does. but most of them do not. And Illinois is one of those states. The same flat tax, whether it's ordinary income or long-term capital gains. So all you're doing in this instance, once you've determined the marginal rate, which for this individual would be 15%, you take that marginal rate at the federal level plus the state marginal rate, multiply that by your gain on the sale of the stock. And so you can estimate that you will pay $9,975 on that gain. Really pretty easy once you can figure out that taxable income number. That's the real tricky part. So that's all I have on marginal rates. I'm going to turn it over to Evan, who's going to tell us a little bit about 1099 filings.
I don't unfortunately have a nice graphic, but I will yap at you guys just a little bit, give you a rundown on kind of where we're at, just some general details on the 1099s. So if you've seen any of our emails, we're trying to get those processed right now. We'll process them for you. There's a fee for it, but we're happy to get that knocked out. If you are hoping to get your 1099s processed, our due date is Monday. So if you are really interested in us knocking that out, please send us an email and just say, hey, I need to get these knocked out. We're really not, if you get us your info beyond Monday, we can't promise that it'll get done on time. We'll still try. We're not saying we won't process it, but that is kind of our due date for a timely submission. Just to kind of run down generals on what 1099s are in case anybody isn't familiar. They're basically reports for various non-employment income. They're for contractors, freelance work. I'm under the impression that if you work significantly with a company and you're doing a lot of purchasing from them, if it's above $600, you'd be putting it on a 1099. So that's kind of what that's going to be for. It is an informational return that basically is tracking that income that isn't on a W-2. Again, like I said, our due date is on Monday for those. We do have like a spreadsheet that we're sending out to kind of try to help you out with that information. We won't just be like, hey, give us the info, we'll leave you in the dark. We do have a bit of a process. We're trying to get we have a submission form. So basically I'll send that out to you. You'll put everything in on that submission form. And then from there, we will send you the Excel spreadsheet that kind of breaks it down a little further. While I mention it, since I did on W-2s, I did send out recently confirmation for everybody's information. I did request that there was a response to that by the 15th. The reason I did that is because beyond the 15th, they basically just start sending out W-2s. If you got that information from me and you're looking through it and you're like, hey, an employee's address is wrong, hey, their X, Y, and Z is wrong, please reach out, let me know. It's probably not too late. It's only the 16th. Like I said, with the other due date, can't make any promises at this point, but please do look it over. Make sure all that information is correct. These two things kind of go hand in hand because they're basically reporting those different sides of the income. So we're looking at both of them right now. If you're having any problems, please let us know.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I think we are at the point where we can go ahead and open this up to questions if anyone has any. I will have the chat box here open. If anyone isn't able to turn on their mic, they can drop their question in there. We'll try to go one at a time if anyone wants to turn on their mic for that. But we can go ahead and start fielding some questions. We'll try our best. We're trying to be quite knowledgeable in our fields, but there's only so much that we can try to help with. So any questions you've got, we'd love to hear them.
At the very least, I'll be able to get someone who has an answer. It might be a delayed answer, but we'll get you one.
Exactly.
Hey y'all, this is Fox. I think I might have missed it. Y'all were talking a little bit about 1099s, I think, for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just restate that?
Yeah, so we're basically going through and trying to gather any 1099s right now that for folks who are wanting us to process those. Our due date is Monday. We're sending out basically a little sheet that lets you put in some info. From there, we'll send you an Excel form that is going to break it down a little more. It's going to basically be for categorizing all those folks. Just kind of on the general information on the 1099s, they report various non-employment income. So basically things that aren't on your W-2, contractors, freelance work, that kind of thing. They're an informational return, so they're just tracking that income. And like I said, our due date is Monday for that info.
So to clarify, our internal due date is Monday.
Yes.
For us to guarantee to file by the IRS's deadline of, I believe it's February 2nd this year.
Yes, it's the 2nd this year.
The 31st is on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got you, got you. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And if anybody is interested in 1099s and they missed what I said, just you can shoot. My name's Evan Durker, or you can shoot the payroll email and email. I'm on that as well. We'll get you all the information. So just let me know you're interested.
And generally, if you have anyone here at Volpe's email, I mean, we're all in the office every day, so I can almost guarantee if you email any of us, it'll get to the right person no matter what.
Well,
But just to be sure, I will go ahead and drop my email in the chat so that if anyone has any questions to follow up with after the meeting, we can communicate through that.
you can stick mine in if you want as well.
So, any other questions that anyone has right now? I know we'll stick around for a good while because I know not everyone was able to make it right at 2 o'clock our time. So,
and if your question is as simple as can you rehash something, the goal of these sessions is for you guys to be able to come ask any questions. So then you're not playing email tag with us or trying to get us a hold on the phone when you're trying to just get a simple question answered. If you've ever got something going on like, hey, you have somebody who needs a deduction in payroll and I just want to know what to do, like that's kind of what we want to leave this floor for. So if you don't have any questions, you can feel free to head out. You can hang out, wait here if anybody has any questions. We're really hoping to create basically like an open forum for the clients to be like, hey, I've got just a quick issue. Can you maybe give us some insight, shed some light on it?
I know one of the things Apple was really excited about with these webinars is the opportunity for maybe one client might have a question that other clients have,
Yes.
or maybe something they didn't even realize they didn't have enough knowledge about. This is a great opportunity for kind of this wealth of knowledge exchange for everyone to participate in. All right, we have a question from Danny. Evan, I think that one might be up your alley.
So I would have to see probably what you're doing. Would you mind coming off the mic and giving a little more detail?
Sorry about that. I was having trouble unmuting.
No.
So we have taken some of the bookkeeping back in at our office, and so I am basically kind of learning how to do this as I go along. And I'm finding that the vendors were not set up correctly originally, and so I want to know how to do it correctly going forward so that we're not running around trying to find W-9s at the end of the year and that it will produce a 1099 without much effort.
So when you say they didn't set up correctly, is there errors on the form? Or what exactly is the issue?
I'm trying to think. Like it says that there's no W-9, there might not be an address. I'm assuming it. I'm assuming I'm making this more difficult than it needs to be. It probably is just the lack of information that's not in there. But I just want to know if there's something else that we need to know about or that we're not aware of that we need to do going forward.
Do you happen to have like a copy of the form or like a screenshot of the information you're trying to submit that you could send over to me?
Yeah, and if you can clarify maybe what system it is that you're using to process these 1099s, because there's many different payroll systems, all work a little bit differently. So.
What was that? I'm sorry.
QuickBooks Online.
Books.
Okay. Yeah, was our previous system. So we have some knowledge there. I think if I remember correctly, a lot of what it comes down to is because QuickBooks is integrated like that, where you have both the bookkeeping side and the payroll side, if set up correctly in the same account. Where if the vendor set up and you have marked all of the transactions for that vendor in QuickBooks, when you go to file a 1099, it should automatically pull those transactions. So it sounds like the issue you're having is that vendor was not initially set up, and therefore all the transactions you had for that vendor weren't allocated to that vendor. So now you're trying to pull this 1099, it can't pull any of the numbers. Is that kind of right? Is that what's going on there?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what it is. And when I look at it, it's not the vendors, it's the contractors, I guess, that were not set up.
I see.
if you continue to have issues, please feel free to reach out, send me a message and just kind of give me, because honestly, it's hard for me to visualize it without taking a look. So, because it could be a couple different things. So if you do want to reach out to me, just kind of send me further details, maybe show a screenshot or what exactly you have populated. That would be really helpful.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.